Hello. Hi. I don't know if anyone is there yet, but I'm up just 2 minutes early just so I want to check on my camera and my microphone. Um, if you hear me and see me well, hi, Steve Matthews. If you hear me and see me well, can you please comment in the chat to let me know that everything works okay? Okay. Hopefully, because I'm on the street right now. Thank you, Matthew. I'm on the street right now and I'm using the microphone, so hopefully that it doesn't pick up too much background noise. Okay, so you hear me well and you see me well. Thank you so much for letting me know. Hi, Krishna. Okay, sound and video are good. That's good. That's good. I hope everyone is doing well. Um, so on this live, I just want to give you a little bit update about my life, about the accident that recently happened. And before I start, just so you know, Marco is right here. He's right here. We are at the coffee shop, at a small coffee shop in the neighborhood right now, and that is my van, parked in the corner of the street. So, Marco, come on here. Marco, Marco. He's get excited. Yeah, learning from mistakes is always good. Hi, Michael. I'm glad you can join me live at this time. Okay, so let me show you exactly what happened to me um, about the accident. So let's talk about this first because when I just thought everything is good, right? Everything is in Montreal is good, and I really enjoy my time. And boom, just somewhere, somehow, this accident just happened. I was just parking on the street, just on the side of the street, something like this. Let me turn the camera around. I was just parking like this, and someone, but it was in on a much bigger street. Someone was just driving really fast, and they hit the car behind me, and that car hit into my van. So let me show you a little bit of the damage. Um, so the light was broken, but luckily it's still working. And the bumper is marked, and my ladder is completely destroyed. Um, but luckily, so that's the damage on the van. So yeah, I was just parking like that. Luckily, my older vehicle is that um, it's very hard to find the parts to replace them if anything happened. So last time I had issues with the wheels. So the wheel cap, like that, is lost on on the front passenger side, and I can't find this part nowhere. I couldn't find it anywhere. And it's the same thing with the door. So I went to a body shop here in Montreal, and I asked them whether it's possible to fix it, and they said the door has to be replaced. But the issue is that because Dodge doesn't manufacture any parts for my van anymore because it's so old. So if there's any parts that need to be replaced on this van, I would have to wait forever for them to find the parts. If it's not standard or universal, the junkyard, it still takes a really long time to find anything in the junkyard because I tried to find the cover for the wheel cap, but I couldn't find it anywhere, even in the junkyard. And they literally searched on over Ontario's and Montreal, couldn't find any parts. Um, and so that's somehow it just suddenly happened. Yeah, it's, it somehow just suddenly happened out of nowhere. And luckily, Marco and I were not inside the van, and the car that was behind me that hit me was actually completely destroyed. But luckily, they were not inside the car either. So nobody is injured. Nobody's got his actually injured. I don't know about the driver because I wasn't there, so I don't know what actually happened to them. But when I got back to the van, I just got a note from the police about the accident. About the accident, and they just sent me a number to report to the insurance. So yeah, regardless, everything is going to be fixed. Um, the fortunate part is that no one, no one is hurt in the process. And so after going through this accident, let me just put my phone down so I don't have to hold it. So it's much easier for me to talk. Hold on. So there you go. So you can see and hear me well, right? Okay. Um, and so yeah, that's the damage on the van. The lucky part is that both of us are fine, and I was actually glad that I didn't leave Marco alone inside the van, because sometimes I do leave him alone whenever I need to run errands and stuff. Because if he is inside by himself, he would have got really shocked about what happened, and it may traumatize him. But he was with me the whole time because in the summertime I tend to don't leave him inside the van as much. So I, I just don't want to go on live and drag about what actually happened, because when it happened, I was really frustrated, and this happened about 2 weeks ago already. And it was really frustrated to me, and I was completely shocked because I was driving. Yeah, so the junkyard, I don't know if they're gonna look at the junkyard, but I talked to another body shop, and they said they're gonna try to fix it without the parts. Any parts that are common and universal, they probably can replace it. Like the bumper, probably they can do it, but they're not sure about the doors, whether the doors can be fixed. Hi, Princess Pamela's. Yeah, someone hit me when I was parking on the side street. And it just kind of happened out of nowhere, right? I was driving in BC for 3 years, and I drove across Canada and nothing happened. Now that I park on the street of Montreal, someone suddenly hit me, and it was apparently it was a big accident, even though I was not there to see it in person. Um, I just heard that it was a really big scene, and so it just kind of like dropped on me. Something just happened out of nowhere, and I was sad for like a whole week. I was really frustrated because it happened on Friday, and the following Monday I was going to leave Montreal to continue forward with my trip. But since the accident happened, obviously I just didn't feel like I should travel anymore, and I should stay in Montreal and get it fixed because it's still drivable. The inside doesn't get damaged that much, and technically I can still live in it. I can still drive it. If I want to continue to travel, I could. but I just didn't feel like I should continue travel in this condition. Like I should at least have it fixed and everything is all right because I don't know if any parts could be loose during the collision and it may cause um, further damage. And so I've been staying here for another 2 weeks. Where do I travel next after it's fixed? My plan is to continue going toward east. I'm hoping to make it to Nova Scotia. If not this summer, hopefully by beginning of fall, that I would make it to Nova Scotia. Yeah. So so I'm stuck here in Montreal for a few more weeks. Hopefully it will get fixed pretty soon. I may just bring it to the body shop to have it fixed next week, but it's gonna take them a week to do anything, and then they would have to file a ladder. So I have to go to like an RV repair to also do also fix the damage for the RV parts because the body shop only do with the body of the van. So there's two different parts that need to be fixed. And also, I don't know if the collision did any damage to my fridge, but my fridge stops working for the last couple of days now. So there's so many little issues that I need to work on my van. So it didn't make me feel like, oh, I should like push forward and continue to travel. So that's where the frustration comes from, and it make me feel restricted when I'm not able to travel. Especially my insurance is from BC, and BC is not really happy when they heard about my accident. They're not really happy that I'm out of the province for a little while and I still have coverage from the insurance. And they said that if I'm not going back to BC, um, before my insurance expire, I won't be able to renew it. That means if I'm going to Nova Scotia this fall, I won't be able to make it back to BC early enough to renew my insurance. And if my insurance is going to expire, I would have to give up my residence in BC, and I may have to stay in another province for a little while to get the residence from another place just so I can get insurance. Is if it's not enough issue already. Um, so it just complicates the matters. Like this accident just complicates everything on my trip because I cannot move forward and I have to give up my insurance. I have to give up my resident status with BC because clearly, even after I get this fixed, I cannot renew online Krishna. They told me that I have to be driving on BC highway in order to renew my insurance. And I'm like, I'm already here in Montreal. I'm two-thirds to the coast, uh, to the Atlantic coast of Canada, and I don't want to drive all the way back to BC and then drive back next year. Um, and even so, by the time my van get fixed, I didn't think that I can make it back to BC early enough before it starts snowing in the Rocky Mountains, and I don't feel safe driving in the Rocky Mountains because it will start snowing by October. When I was there in the beginning of September last year, it was already like snowing a little bit. So I know for sure that by the time I get to Saskatchewan and the Rocky Mountains in BC, it will for sure that it will snow, and I don't feel safe driving back. So regardless, anyhow, I'm gonna be late going back to BC. I can't renew my insurance by the time it expires. Luckily, they're still gonna cover me for this uh, for, for this accident, and they're working with the police to get the report released. But everything here in Quebec takes really long time. They they said it would take like 4 to 6 weeks in order to get the reports released from the police so that they can work with the guy, the insurance of the guy who hit everyone, to get that guy pay for all the damage. So I still have to pay for the deductible, um, for the damage that he caused, because my insurance would have to pay for everything first, and then they would work with the other insurance to get them pay me back they would pay me back the deductible and also my insurance, because it would take a really long time for them to like go back and forth to figure out uh, the issues and how much it costs and the statistic, like how they pay for everything. And that I would have to look for a place to stay during the time the van is fixed. And it's gonna take for a little while. I'm thinking maybe 10 days to 2 weeks, because it's not just the body shop, but it's also the RV parts that need to be fixed as well. And finding a place here with Marco is not really easy. But regardless, I think I'm gonna be able to manage that just fine, because I have some friends here in Montreal that I can ask. So it's not really a big issue, but it's just like additional expenses that I didn't count for, and now it just somehow just dropped on me, and that's where the frustration come from. Um, so for the last 2 weeks, I felt a lot of restriction, frustration, um, upsetting, and I was like, why the heck did this just happen? I was I had such a good driving record. Um, yeah, I'm still living in my van now. But I'm kind of like going back and forth between my van and my friend's place to shower and all that stuff. Because it's getting very hot these days too. So I want to get Marco to stay inside when it gets so hot. So we're not in the van as often. Um, it's not really pleasant to stay in the van at the moment. So, but I still live in my van and I get everything fixed as much as I can. So yeah, but I didn't want to go on and talk about the accident until I completely process my emotion, um, and I'm not upset about it anymore, for the fact that I didn't have to pay for all the damage, but it does cause a lot of inconveniences on my trip, and the extra work that I have to put in order to get everything fixed, because I already have a lot of work that I need to get done already. And so um, because when I get upset and I get emotional, like I learned that I needed to um, understand my emotion and where all this come from, and this is where that I want to share on this live. Like I don't want to drag so much about the incidents, but like more about the lesson that I have learned from it. And as I was sitting with my emotion and I was talking to my friends about the accident, like why did it just happen? Because it literally, it's like a synchronicity. It just happened out of nowhere, right? I didn't expect it to happen. Like I didn't do anything to cause this to happen. So why is it that it's happening, right? And I did go into maybe I did go into the victim mentality for a little bit, and I was, and the frustration often comes from the root problem of feeling like powerless, because I feel like I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I felt Yeah, I felt like I couldn't control the situation, and that's why I felt really frustrated and restricted. And you know that I'm all about being free, and traveling is my way of expressing my freedom. But after like this accident happened, I feel so restricted. I feel like I didn't have the freedom that I wanted, and um, that's where I feel really upset. Like I feel like I couldn't do what I wanted to do. So as I understand that emotion, I realize the root cause of the upset is about, again, not having my freedom, um, not being able to control the situation, having all my plans being deterred. So it's like when I get these emotions, I realize that the external circumstances actually control my feelings, control my emotions, and um, and so I was asking myself, okay, if I'm going to learn how to be free, I have to be free from the inside out, and that no matter whatever circumstances that happen from the external, I I would not let it to control my emotion and and my feelings, because um, that's probably where and why it happens in the first place, because I didn't feel free. I didn't feel um, at home within myself. And I realized that it's connected with my feelings of being constantly doubting myself. So self doubt is like another it's like another areas of being not enough, like the fear of being not enough, and I talk a lot about that um, since the beginning of my channel. And as I'm going along with this journey, there's more and more resistance and more hurdles that going to show up. And as I'm looking into the law of correspondence. Like everything, it's the saying is above so below, is within so without, right? So when I was sitting with everything that's happened in my emotion, and I was asking like what exactly within me um, that reflect to the external circumstances um, that I am in right now, and I realized that because I didn't feel at home within myself, and that's why my home is wrecked by an accident, just out of nowhere. Did I cause it physically? No, but um, I may have intentionally caused it energetically by not being at home within myself. And that's why my home, if I'm not feeling at home within myself, um, is like there's a part of myself that I need to work on. That's what is showing on the external reality, just so I can reflect on it and look on it, and by looking at it, I realized, oh, this is what going on within me. So it's kind of like a mirror reflection that's telling me exactly what I needed to know about myself. So I realized, oh wow, it's after I realized that, I was like, um, it's a huge lesson. It's a big lesson for me to learn, and how what happened is actually pushing me to work on my self growth and my journey of evolving myself. As I looking at it that way, I stopped getting upset and frustrated. Um, yeah, I don't feel sad about the whole situation anymore. Like I don't feel um, I don't feel restricted as much. It's like that intense emotion, like so frustrated, like so upset. It's like it's kind of like dialed down a little bit as I realized exactly the lesson and what happened, and what happens is to push me to grow and move forward with my journey. um, and there's a sense of hope too, that I know everything is gonna work out. um, and as I'm looking everything in a lens that is actually happened to me, so I can reflect and work on myself. um, it seems like a blessing, rather than a curse. It seems like a lesson rather than an accident. um, Sprinting and emotional maturity, yeah. So that's why I think, like, when you sit, when everything that just happens and suddenly out of nowhere and it just really bring you down, I just think that it's so essential to actually sit with it and feel it, because within that emotion is always a lesson to learn and to help you realize something about yourself, about your life, and what you're gonna do about it. And especially having awareness is the first thing for um, for growth and to be mature, and to know how to deal with all everything, spiritual and emotional maturity. um, yeah. And it's the process of growth, like everything is a process. Like I was just thinking when I was in Ontario, I shared with you in last life that I felt so much uncertainty. I felt not creative, and and not motivated. Oh, the volume is too low. Is it better now? Can you hear me better? Maybe because the car was driving by, so it's a lot of noise, background noise. Let me know if you can hear me better. Is it good now? Like put in the chat or something. Still low. Uh, it has been good on your end. Let me see if I unplug the microphone and see if it works better. Is it better now? It, it's still too low. The much better. Okay, that's good. Maybe it doesn't work so well with the microphone. Um, I was trying to use the microphone. Hopefully the volume will be better, but it brings the volume down, I guess. So yeah, as I was saying, that this whole accident actually taught me a lesson, and when I understand that lesson, is it changes the way that I see everything, and it's like life is like a process. It's always gonna be like up and down, even though we don't expect it to happen. Like something that happened to me like this, because as I was saying, like when I was in Ontario, like my mood was really low. Um, well, in Toronto, my mood was really low, and I did a lot of work on myself, and I was going on the fast, and I was doing a lot of exercise, and eventually my mood was a lot was going up, and it was a lot better. And now this accident just like drop on me. And I was like, I was feeling so good. I was feeling so good about myself. And now it just dropped the ball on me. And so it's pushing me to work a little harder on myself and changes my perspective and that I needed to understand the lesson that no matter what happened in the external life, um, I need to stabilize my inner strength and my inner emotion um, in order to stay centered and stay balanced all the time, because this is the time for me to create a lot of work and to be creative and to be on the flow, because life is always gonna be like this, right? And so we're always gonna go up and down. So right now is like on the low, and I need to stay center even though I'm on the low, and just still follow the low until it goes back up again. Yeah, happiness is not the goal of life, but it is the way of life. It is about the journey for sure. So it's always gonna be on the flow. And as I see it, that all the challenges and the hurdles that happen is just like a weight. Um, when you go to the gym, it's like a weight. One moment at a time. It's like training weight. It's like training your resilience and your persistence to overcome all the hurdle. It's like going through the Olympic. The way that I see dealing with emotion is like training your emotion, training your feelings to stay in the balance in the center. It is like training to be in the Olympic. Actually, it's like a sport, because the more resistance you have, the more challenges you have, the more you're gonna train yourself to be better, to be more mature at your emotion, and to always stay centered and balanced and be happy no matter what. So that's how I look at this accident, and because it just dropped on me, it's not something that I intentionally make it happen. Maybe I make it happen because I didn't feel good from the inside. I didn't feel at home within myself. That's how I feel like I'm responsible for it. That I had so many doubts about myself and my ability, my capability. Um, During this time, like all my partnerships with everyone, yeah, life is always a learning process. So you never know what you have to deal with. And so when you stay on the flow, even on the down low, like just go with the flow and stay in the center and be aware of the lesson. um, when you're aware of the lesson, you have that awareness, it does definitely change the perspective and everything. And once you have a different perspective, it does change your mood, and the motivation to move forward. I think that's the biggest thing, having the motivation to move forward when you're on the down low. When you face any obstacles, and it's the first thing you do, have the awareness. And in order to have the awareness, you just have to sit with the emotion and understand it and really feel it. And even though I didn't really write it down, sometimes I do write down I do write down on my journal. But I had a conversation with a really good friend who, like through this conversation, I realized, oh wow, like this is what I'm feeling on the inside. Now I understand why everything that happens to me on the outside, and it makes sense. Like everything makes sense, and this really helps me to understand the lesson, and like now what exactly that I need to work on within myself. Was anyone hurt? Sherry was asking. No one is hurt, as I know. Um, Me and Marco is fine because we were outside the van. We was not inside the van when the accident happened. Um, about the driver, I don't know because I wasn't there at the scene. So I know that he may be injured, but I don't know exactly like how he's injured and whether I think he's alive. As I heard that he's alive, but I don't know exactly how he's injured and how badly he was injured. Um, so yeah, that's the lesson that I want to share with everyone today because as I see that, oh my God, the world is so tumultuous right now. And I think that everything that happens to me is kind of reflecting what everything that happened in the collective as well. Um, we just gone through with the COVID and everything just open in Montreal, everything just open in Ontario. Canada is kind of happy right now, but the rest of the world is not. And so it's like that dense energy of the collective is like still there, and there's there's still so much that we have to go through, and it may affect us individually. And so it's the attitude and the mentality, like how we deal with it and not getting stuck in that frustration and not getting stuck in the anger, and how to deal with it. And that's what I want to share with you, and how the process that I'm going through. And I hope that is relatable to everyone. That when you have a challenge, look at it in a way that it is a lesson and is so imperative to understand it and feel it through instead of ignoring it, and see what is it that is pushing you to grow and move forward with your life. Because yeah, as we all grow from the inside, the world is going to grow with us as well collectively, so we can find more peace and freedom. So yeah, that's all I want to share with you. Thank you so much for joining live with me today. um, I hope you have a great weekend, and yeah, stay happy and do your best to live the best life that you can. All right, bye everyone. Thank you, Krishna.